The Chicago skyline glittered outside the floor-to-ceiling windows of our penthouse, a dazzling contrast to the cold emptiness inside. I stood frozen, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest, as Lucas Bennett, my husband of 3 years, stared at me with eyes devoid of warmth. "We're done, Emma. There's only $10,000 left in our savings." "Take it all," he said, his voice flat as if our 8 years together, 5 dating, 3 married, meant nothing. The man I'd loved since high school, the charming boy from a working-class family in suburban Illinois, had just gutted me with a single sentence. Lucas and I met at Lincoln High, where I was the spoiled daughter of Richard Thompson, founder of Thompson Tech, a Chicago-based software giant. Lucas, with his tousled blonde hair and easy smile, was the kid who worked weekends at a diner to help his mom with dialysis bills. After our junior prom, I fell for him under a starry Midwest sky when he took my hand and said, "Emma, you're my everything. Be mine." My heart raced and I said yes without hesitation. We were inseparable, the couple everyone envied. Initially skeptical of Lucas's modest background, my dad warmed to him after years of seeing his dedication. When Dad's health declined, he handed us Thompson Tech's operations, trusting Lucas to carry on his legacy. But everything changed this past year. Dad passed away from a sudden heart attack, leaving me drowning in grief. Lucas grew distant, staying late at the office, then not coming home. I thought he was coping with the company's struggles until tonight. "Sign the papers, Emma," he said, sliding divorce documents across our glass dining table. He claimed the company had gone bankrupt and was liquidated to just $10,000. His sharp features, once softened by love, now radiated indifference. I clutched the table's edge, searching his face for the man who used to kiss me goodbye every morning, who'd massage my shoulders after long days and whisper promises of forever. "That man was gone. Are you done, Lucas?" A familiar voice interrupted. I turned and my stomach dropped. Sophia Reed, my best friend since the first year, stood in the doorway, her hand resting on a visibly pregnant belly. Her auburn hair fell in soft waves, framing a face that usually glowed with warmth. Now it held a mix of guilt and defiance. "Emma, I'm so sorry," she said, her voice trembling, but her eyes steady. "It's Lucas's baby. I told him to wait, but he couldn't. He loves me too much, Emma. Every night he couldn't help himself, and it happened." The room spun. Sophia, my confidant, who'd shared late-night study sessions and secret dreams, had betrayed me. Lucas turned to her, his brow furrowed, not with affection but annoyance. "Go outside, Sophia. Don't stress the baby." She hesitated, her lips parting as if to argue, then shuffled out, closing the door softly. Lucas faced me again, a triumphant smirk curling his lips. The pieces clicked into place. "You drained the company, didn't you?" I whispered, my voice breaking. "You transferred everything my dad built out." He didn't answer, his silence a confession. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound that turned to sobs. 8 years, Lucas. Was it all fake? Did you ever love me? His fists clenched, but he said nothing. The boy who'd once looked at me like I was his world now stared through me. I stumbled backward, my vision blurring with tears. He reached to catch me, but I shoved him away. "Please don't touch me," I hissed. "You and Sophia, you'll pay for this." A sharp pain stabbed the back of my head and the world went black. I cursed them both as I fell, wishing for a chance to undo it all. My last thought was of my dad, his warm smile, and the life we'd lost. When I came to, I was still reeling, the sting of betrayal fresh. I clutched my phone, my hands trembling. If this story's hitting you as hard as it hit me, smash that like button, comment about your own moments of heartbreak, and subscribe to join me on this wild ride of revenge and redemption. You won't want to miss what happens next. I woke up sprawled on the dewy grass of Lincoln High's front lawn, my phone buzzing. The Chicago suburbs stretched around me, familiar yet surreal, bathed in the soft light of a spring morning. My dad's voice crackled through the phone, urgent and alive. "Emma, where are you? Did you faint again from low blood sugar?" "I'm on my way." My heart stopped. Dad had died a year ago. How was he calling me? I sat up, my head throbbing, and noticed my clothes, a plaid school uniform skirt, my pale calves exposed. I was back in my senior year, 17 again. A warm pulse bloomed in my chest, like a whisper from the universe, a cosmic gift granting me a second chance to rewrite my fate. My memories of Lucas and Sophia's betrayal flooded back sharp and vivid, but so did another buried recollection. A name surfaced: Nathan Hayes. I'd known him vaguely in my past life, a quiet kid shunned for his family's scandal. His father, Mr. Hayes, a close friend of my dad's, had an affair that produced Nathan an illegitimate son raised by a cruel stepmother after his mother died in a car crash. Nathan died in college, a tragedy I'd barely registered back then. But after his death, I'd received an anonymous envelope with a bank card and a slip of paper 1300924. It was his, containing his meager savings, a mystery I'd never solved. A commotion snapped me out of my thoughts, shouts, and the dull thud of fists from a nearby alley. Without thinking, I ran toward the noise. There, surrounded by 3 sneering jocks, was Nathan Hayes. His dark hair was matted with sweat, his lanky frame trembling but defiant as he took their blows. "Kneel and beg you, bastard," one taunted. "Hayes's kid thinks he belongs here." Nathan's eyes, red with pain, met mine, and a storm of emotions flickered. Anger, shame, and something like hope. "Stop it," I shouted, stepping forward. "I'm Emma Thompson, and my dad is Richard Thompson of Thompson Tech. Everyone at Lincoln High knows me. Lay a hand on him, and you'll regret it." The bullies froze, their bravado crumbling under the weight of my family's name. Chicago's elite didn't mess with the Thompsons. "Holy crap, it's her," one muttered. They scattered, leaving Nathan slumped against the alley wall, his lip bleeding. He pushed himself up, wincing. "You shouldn't have done that, Emma. They'll just come back harder." His voice was low-guarded, but his gaze held a flicker of gratitude. I swallowed my throat tight with the weight of my second chance. "Spoiled or not, I saved you," I said, forcing a smile. Tears pricked my eyes as I realized I'd seen this scene before in my past life. I'd watched from afar, too scared to intervene, and Nathan had died not long after. Not this time. My dad's black SUV screeched to a stop at the alley's mouth. Richard Thompson, all 6 feet of him, lumbered out, his face red from worry. Uncle Mike, our driver, trailed behind, panting. Dad's eyes softened when he saw Nathan's bruises. "You okay, kid?" he asked. Before Nathan could answer, I jumped in. "Dad, he saved me from those guys. He's coming home with us." Nathan's jaw dropped, and Dad raised an eyebrow, his tech mogul skepticism kicking in. "Saved you, huh?" he said, glancing at Uncle Mike, who grinned knowingly. In the car, Nathan sat silently staring out the window. I studied his sharp cheekbones and the way his bangs hid his eyes. He was different from Lucas, whose charm was all surface. Nathan's quiet strength felt real raw. Dad broke the silence. "Nathan, you're John Hayes' boy. I always told your dad we'd look out for you." Nathan nodded, barely audible. "Yes, sir." I caught Uncle Mike's eye in the rearview mirror. He winked, warming to Nathan. I handed Nathan a towel for his wounds at our Lake Forest mansion. He wiped blood from his cheek, his movements careful, like he expected to be thrown out. "Why are you helping me?" he asked, his voice low, almost accusing. I thought of the bank card, the mysterious 130924. "Because you deserve it," I said. Dad lingered in the hall, watching us. "Emma, you sure about this?" He asked, his tone soft but probing. I nodded firmly. "He's staying, Dad." I paused outside Nathan's guest room that night, my heart racing. "Nathan, what does 120924 mean?" I asked through the door. He opened it, his dark eyes searching mine, hiding secrets. Nothing he mumbled, but how his ears reddened told me otherwise. I didn't push. This was my chance to right past wrongs, to save Nathan from his tragic fate, and to uncover the truth behind that number. The alley behind Lincoln High reeked of damp concrete and spilled soda, the kind of place where secrets festered in the Chicago suburbs. My heart thumped as I ran toward the shouts, my school uniform skirt catching on a jagged fence. The cosmic warmth in my chest, that strange pulse from my rebirth, urged me forward. I'd been here before in my past life, watching from a distance as Nathan Hayes took a beating, too afraid to step in. That cowardice haunted me. Nathan's death in college, the mysterious bank card with 130924 he left behind, all because I didn't act. Not this time. 3 jocks towered over Nathan, their Letterman jackets emblazoned with Lincoln High's eagle. Was lanky and bruised. Nathan knelt on the ground, his dark hair matted with sweat. "Beg you, bastard," sneered the leader, a beefy senior named Tyler. "Hayes's kid thinks he's one of us." Nathan's eyes, red-rimmed but defiant, locked onto mine as I burst into view. A flicker of surprise crossed his face, then something deeper, hope, maybe, or recognition. "Stop it," I shouted, planting myself between Nathan and Tyler. My voice shook, but I stood tall. "I'm Emma Thompson, and my dad is Richard Thompson of Thompson Tech. Everyone in Chicago knows us. Touch him again, and you'll wish you hadn't." The jocks froze, their smirks fading. Tyler glanced at his buddies, uncertain. The Thompson name carried weight. My dad's software empire funded half the school's tech lab. Holy crap, it's her, one muttered. They backed off, muttering curses, and vanished into the afternoon haze. Nathan pushed himself up, wincing as he clutched his side. His worn-out sneakers scuffed the pavement, and a trickle of blood ran from his lip. "You shouldn't have done that, Emma," he said, his voice low, almost a growl. "They'll just come back harder." I swallowed, my throat tight. In my past life, I'd walked away, leaving him curled up on the ground, his body taking blow after blow. That image burned in my mind, fueling my resolve. "Spoiled or not, I saved you," I snapped, forcing a smile to hide the tears pricking my eyes. This was my second chance, my shot to save Nathan from the tragedy that awaited him. He studied me, his dark eyes narrowing, searching for an angle. Nathan Hayes wasn't just any loner. He was the son of John Hayes, my dad's old college buddy, who'd had an affair that left Nathan as the family's shame. His mother died in a car crash when he was a kid, and his stepmother, a cold woman named Margaret, treated him like dirt. I'd heard the stories, how she locked him out of the house, how he scrounged for meals. In my past life, I'd dismissed him as a nobody, too caught up in Lucas Bennett's charm to care. But that bank card, that number 130924, meant something. I had to know what. Before Nathan could say more, my dad's black SUV roared up, tires screeching. Richard Thompson climbed out, his broad frame filling the alley's entrance. His face, usually stern from boardroom battles, was red with worry. Uncle Mike, our driver, trailed behind, his graying mustache twitching as he panted. "Emma, you okay?" Dad asked, his eyes darting to Nathan's bruises. "What happened here?" I jumped in before Nathan could speak. "Dad, those guys were bullying me, and Nathan stepped in. He saved me." Nathan's jaw dropped, his eyes wide with shock. In my past life, I'd barely spoken to him even after he took a beating. Now I was rewriting history. Dad raised an eyebrow, his tech mogul skepticism kicking in. "Saved you, huh?" He glanced at Uncle Mike, who gave a knowing nod, his warm brown eyes softening toward Nathan. "Kid's got guts," Mike said, clapping Nathan's shoulder. Nathan flinched, but didn't pull away. "Get in the car," Dad said, his tone firm but kind. In the SUV, Nathan sat rigid, staring out the window at the suburban streets rolling by. I studied him, his sharp cheekbones, the way his bangs hid his eyes like he was shielding himself from the world. He was nothing like Lucas, whose charm was all polish and promises. Nathan's quiet strength felt raw, honest, like a fire smoldering beneath the surface. Dad broke the silence. "Nathan, you're John's boy. I promised your dad I'd look out for you." "Rough day, huh?" Nathan nodded, barely audible. "Yes, sir." Uncle Mike caught my eye in the rearview mirror, his grin wide. "You two make quite the team, Miss Emma." I smiled, feeling the weight of my second chance settle in. I wasn't just saving Nathan, but myself from the nightmare of Lucas and Sophia's betrayal. Nathan hesitated at the entrance of our Lake Forest mansion, his sneakers scuffing the marble floor. I handed him a clean towel from the hall closet. "For your face," I said. He took it, his fingers brushing mine, and wiped the blood from his lip. His eyes met mine, wary but curious. "Why'd you lie for me?" he asked, his voice low. I thought of that bank card, the mystery of his sacrifice. "Because you deserve better," I said. This was my vow to protect him, to unravel his secrets, and to rewrite our fates. The Lake Forest mansion glowed under the evening sun, its sprawling lawns and glass windows a far cry from the cramped alley where I'd found Nathan. Inside, the scent of cedar and lemon polish filled the air, but Nathan stood stiff in the foyer, clutching the towel I'd given him like it was a lifeline. His worn-out sneakers looked out of place on the marble floor, and his eyes darted around as if expecting to be kicked out. My rebirth's cosmic pulse still hummed in my chest, a reminder of my mission: save Nathan Hayes, uncover the meaning of 13924, and keep Lucas Bennett and Sophia Reed from ruining my life again. Dad lingered in the hall, his broad shoulders filling the doorway. Richard Thompson wasn't just a tech mogul. He was a man who'd built Thompson Tech from a garage startup to a Chicago powerhouse, all while raising me alone after Mom's death from cancer when I was 6. His graying hair and sharp blue eyes were filled with concern and curiosity as he watched Nathan. "You're staying here tonight, kid," he said, his voice warm but firm. "No arguments." Nathan nodded, his jaw tight. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson." Uncle Mike, our driver and Dad's oldest friend, clapped Nathan's shoulder as he passed. "You clean up friendly, kid. Stick around. Emma could use a protector." His mustache twitched with a grin, and I caught a flicker of pride in his eyes. Mike had been with us since I was a kid, driving me to school, sneaking me extra cookies, and teaching me to change a tire when Dad was too busy. His warmth toward Nathan made my heart swell. He saw the good in him just like I was starting to. I led Nathan to the guest room next to mine, its walls lined with soft blue wallpaper and a lake view. He hesitated at the door, his bruised hands gripping the towel. "Why are you doing this, Emma?" he asked, his voice low, almost accusing. I'd brushed him off in my past life, embarrassed by his outcast status. I'd even snapped at him once in front of Dad, saying he was clinging to our wealth. That memory stung, especially knowing he'd died in college, leaving me that mysterious bank card. "Because you deserve a chance," I said, meeting his gaze. "And I owe you one." His eyes narrowed, searching for a catch. Nathan's life had been a series of betrayals, his mother tricked by John Hayes, his stepmother's cruelty, and the bullies who saw him as less than human. I knew the stories from my past life, how his mother believed John's promises only to learn he was married, how she died in a crash when Nathan was 8, how Margaret Hayes locked him out of the house, forcing him to sleep in a shed. Dad had wanted to take him years ago, but I'd protested, too wrapped up in my own world. I saw the boy behind the scars who'd left me his savings with that cryptic number. "Get some rest," I said, pointing to the room. "You're safe here." Nathan nodded, his shoulders easing slightly. As he stepped inside, I saw his expression of gratitude mixed with disbelief. Dad caught me in the hall, his brow furrowed. "Emma, you sure about this? You've never been this altruistic." His tone was teasing, but his eyes held a spark of pride. "He's not like Lucas," I said. "He's real." Dad chuckled, ruffling my hair. "You're growing up, kiddo. Just don't break my bank account saving the world." Dinner was quiet, just the three of us in the dining room, the chandelier casting soft light over the oak table. Nathan ate carefully, as if he were afraid to make a mess. Between bites of steak, Dad shared stories of his college days with John Hayes, Nathan's father. "John was a dreamer," Dad said, his voice wistful. "He messed up, but he loved you, Nathan. Never doubt that." Nathan's fork paused, his eyes fixed on his plate. I changed the subject, asking about Dad's latest software project. He lit up, launching into a rant about AI algorithms, his passion filling the room. Nathan listened, his guarded expression softening. After dinner, I found Nathan staring at the lake's dark ripples on the balcony. The Chicago skyline glowed in the distance, a reminder of the world I'd lost and the one I was rebuilding. "You okay?" I asked, leaning against the railing. He nodded, but his silence spoke louder. I took a chance. "Nathan, what does 10924 mean?" His head snapped up, his ears reddening. Nothing, he mumbled, but his voice cracked, betraying a secret too heavy to share. I didn't push. Instead, I smiled. "You're stuck with me now. Deal with it." He let out a small, reluctant laugh, the first I'd heard from him. It was a sound I wanted to hear again. As I turned to go, I felt the cosmic pulse in my chest flare, a sign I was on the right path. Lucas and Sophia were still out there, plotting to exploit me, but here with Nathan, I was building something new, a home, a bond, a chance to right my wrongs. I'd face school tomorrow, where Sophia's fake smiles and Lucas's regretful glances waited. But tonight, under the stars, I knew one thing: I'd protect Nathan, no matter what. The halls of Lincoln High buzzed with the usual Monday chaos: lockers, slamming sneakers, squeaking on polished floors, the air thick with teenage bravado and cheap cologne. I navigated the crowd, my heart steady with the cosmic pulse of my rebirth, a reminder of my mission to rewrite my fate. Nathan Hayes walked beside me, his tall frame slightly hunched, his bangs shielding his guarded eyes. His presence grounded me, a quiet contrast to the storm brewing in my chest. Today, I'd face Sophia Reed, my so-called best friend, whose betrayal in my past life still burned like a fresh wound. Sophia caught up to me near the science wing, her auburn hair bouncing as she jogged over. "Emma," she called, her voice sugary, but her green eyes flicked to Nathan with a hint of disdain. She looped her arm through mine, a gesture that once felt like sisterhood, but now made my skin crawl. "Why are you hanging with him?" she asked, tilting her head toward Nathan. Her tone was light, but I caught the edge, a subtle jab at his outcast status. I'd ignored it in my past life, too naive to see her true colors. Not anymore. I pulled my arm free, keeping my smile tight. "Nathan's my friend Sophia. You got a problem with that?" Her face faltered, the sweet mask slipping for a split second. Before she could recover, I spotted Lucas Bennett across the hall, his blonde hair catching the fluorescent light. He leaned against a locker, watching us, his expression unreadable. My stomach twisted. In my past life, Lucas and Sophia had plotted to siphon my family's wealth, leaving me with nothing but a broken heart and $10,000. This time, I'd turn their game against them. During lunch, I slipped away to the science lab where I'd overheard Sophia and Lucas scheming in my past life. The room was empty, its tables cluttered with beakers and Bunsen burners. I hid behind a storage cabinet, my heart pounding as the door creaked open. Sophia's voice came first, low and urgent. "Lucas, we need to move faster. Emma's acting weird, she's too close to that Hayes kid." Lucas sighed, his voice heavy. "I don't know, Sophia. I think I actually like her." My breath caught. Lucas, reborn like me, sounded conflicted, his charm fraying at the edges. Sophia scoffed. "Like her, come on, Luke. Her family's loaded. Her dad's Thompson tech is worth millions. You chase her, win her over, and we're set. Your mom's hospital bills, my dad's gambling debts, all gone. We planned this, remember?" Her voice turned sharp, revealing the desperation beneath her delicate facade. Sophia's father was a compulsive gambler, and her mother was a cleaner scraping by to cover his messes. She'd latched onto me in the first year not for friendship but access to my family's wealth. Lucas hesitated. "She's not the same Sophia. She's smarter now." I clenched my fists, fury rising. Smarter now, in my past life, I'd been blind, trusting them both while they drained my dad's company. Lucas's reborn regret didn't erase his betrayal. I stepped out, startling them, and planning something I asked, my voice cold. Sophia's face paled, but she recovered quickly, her eyes welling with crocodile tears. "Emma, it's not what you think." "Save it," I snapped. "I heard everything." Lucas opened his mouth, but I cut him off. "Don't, Lucas. I'm done with both of you." I walked out, my heart racing, but my resolve firm. Sophia tried her usual act in the cafeteria, sidling up to me in front of our classmates. "Emma, why are you mad?" she asked, her voice quivering for effect. The crowd watched, curious. I saw my chance. I roared, "Funny you ask," Sophia, my tone dripping with mock sadness. "Nathan's my friend, a good guy, and you talk about him like he's trash. He's the son of my dad's best friend, my desk mate, and you act like he doesn't belong here. That's not what friends do." The cafeteria went quiet. Sophia's sweet smile cracked her nose, twitching as if she might cry. "Emma, I didn't mean," she stammered, but I cut her off. "You put me in a tough spot, Sophia. I thought you were better than that." Classmates whispered, their eyes shifting to Sophia. Her helpless act, usually her weapon, backfired. A girl named Mia, known for her bluntness, snorted. "Seriously, Sophia, Emma's always had your back, and you pull this?" Sophia's face reddened, then paled. She mumbled a quick sorry and fled, her popularity crumbling. Nathan, standing nearby, glanced at me, his eyes full of curiosity. "Why'd you do that?" he asked later, his voice low and magnetic. "To protect you," I said, meeting his gaze, "and to show her who's in control." He looked startled, then turned away, but I caught a faint flush on his cheeks. The cosmic pulse in my chest flared, a sign I was on the right path. Sophia's mask was slipping, and Lucas's hesitation gave me an edge. I'd outplayed them at their game, but the war wasn't over. They'd try again, and I'd be ready. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across Lincoln High's parking lot, where Uncle Mike's black SUV waited. Nathan stood beside me, his quiet presence a shield against the chaos of my reborn life. The cosmic pulse in my chest thrummed steadily, guiding me as I navigated the fallout of exposing Sophia's schemes. I'd humiliated her in the cafeteria, turning her manipulative tears against her. But Lucas Bennett was another story. His reborn guilt, his hesitant confession of liking me, complicated things. I wasn't the naive 17-year-old he'd fooled in my past life. I'd loved him for 8 years, married him for 3, only to be betrayed by Sophia's pregnancy and a drained company. This time I'd cut him off for good. As we headed to the SUV, Lucas jogged up, his backpack slung over one shoulder, his worn-out white sneakers scuffing the asphalt. "Emma, wait," he called, his blue eyes swirling with regret and desperation. In my past life, that look had melted me, his charm, his hard-working boy persona, the way he'd gaze at me like I was his world. Now it made my stomach churn. "What do you want, Lucas?" I asked, my voice cool, keeping my distance. He held out a small box with a designer label, his hands trembling slightly. "It's for you. May 20th's coming up, and I bought it with my own money." His voice cracked, and I remembered May 20th, our wedding anniversary in my past life, the day we'd registered our marriage, only for him to leave me mid-ceremony for a work call. I stared at the box, then at him. "Your mom's on dialysis, Lucas. Your family's struggling." And you're spending money on this. His face fell, the hope in his eyes dimming. I earned it, Emma. Working nights at the diner. It's not your dad's money. His words stung a reminder of his pride in my past life, how he'd hated being called a phoenix man who rose using my family's wealth. But I knew the truth. He'd funneled millions from Thompson Tech to Sophia, leaving me with nothing. Keep it? I said, stepping back. I don't need your gifts. Lucas's jaw clenched, his throat bobbing as he swallowed hard. Emma, please. I'm not who you think I am anymore. His voice was low pleading, but I saw through it. He was reborn like me, carrying the weight of his past mistakes, but regret didn't erase betrayal. Before I could respond, Nathan placed a hand on my shoulder, his touch grounding me. We're going home, he said, his voice calm but firm. He ruffled my hair, a playful gesture that caught me off guard. I smiled, leaning into it, and said, Let's go, Nathan. Lucas stood frozen, his fists tightening as Uncle Mike opened the SUV's door. Mike, ever observant, caught the tension and chuckled. He said, You two are in trouble together, Miss Emma, his mustache twitching. Hop in before I start writing a soap opera about you. I laughed, climbing in beside Nathan. Lucas's figure grew smaller in the rearview mirror, a lonely silhouette against the setting sun. He thought he could win me back, but I wasn't that naive girl anymore. I'd make him watch as he lost everything. Dad was in his study at home, surrounded by monitors displaying Thompson Tech's latest AI project. He looked up, his blue eyes softening. Rough day at school, he asked, gesturing to Nathan and me. I grinned. Just handling some drama, Dad. He raised an eyebrow, then turned to Nathan. You keeping her out of trouble, kid? Nathan nodded, a rare smile tugging at his lips, and tried, Sir. Dad chuckled, but I caught the pride in his gaze. He'd always wanted me to be strong, not just the spoiled princess of Lake Forest. Today I'd shown him I could be. Later, Nathan and I sat in the kitchen, sharing a plate of Uncle Mike's famous chocolate chip cookies. Mike joined us, regaling Nathan with stories of driving my dad to tech conferences in the 90s, when Thompson Tech was just a dream. Your dad's a good man, Emma, Mike said, then turned to Nathan. And you, kid, you've got heart. Don't let those punks at school tell you otherwise. Nathan ducked his head, his cheeks flushing, but I saw the gratitude in his eyes. As we cleaned up, I nudged Nathan. You're stuck with me now, you know. He glanced at me, his dark eyes searching. Why me, Emma? I'm nobody. His voice was quiet, raw, echoing the pain of his past, his mother's death, his stepmother's cruelty, the bullies who'd beaten him down. I thought of the bank card, the number 130924 that haunted me. You're not nobody, I said. You're the guy who's going to help me change everything. He looked away, but a faint smile curved his lips. The cosmic pulse in my chest flared, a sign I was building something tangible, a bond that could withstand Sophia and Lucas's schemes. I'd face them again tomorrow, but tonight I had Nathan, which was enough. The Lake Forest mansion was silent at 3 a.m., the moonlight casting silver shadows across my bedroom's hardwood floor. I jolted awake, my heart pounding, sweat soaking my pajamas. A nightmare had gripped me, Lucas Bennett's hands around my throat, his blue eyes cold as he sneered. Everything you had is mine now. Sophia Reed lounged on my bed, her pregnant belly mocking me, her laugh echoing like a blade. I stumbled to the bathroom, nausea overwhelming me, and vomited until my knees buckled. Staring into the mirror, my reflection looked wrecked, dark circles under my eyes, my blonde hair tangled. The cosmic pulse of my rebirth throbbed in my chest, a reminder of my second chance, but the nightmare's grip lingered. In my past life, Lucas and Sophia's betrayal had shattered me. 8 years of love, 3 years of marriage, all reduced to a $10,000 payout and a drained company. I'd thought revenge would free me, that exposing their schemes at Lincoln High would heal the wound. But the nightmare showed me a more profound truth. Obsessing over their betrayal would trap me in a cycle of pain, surrounded by their poison. I wanted more than vengeance, freedom, a life untainted by their lies. The realization hit hard, but it cleared my head. I needed to let go to build something new with people who mattered. Clutching my pillow, I crept down the hall to Nathan Hayes' guest room. The cosmic pulse urged me forward, indicating he was part of my new path. Nathan, the boy I'd saved from bullies who left me that mysterious bank card with 130924 in my past life, was my anchor. I knocked softly. Nathan, are you asleep? The door opened, and he stood there, tall and lanky. His dark hair mussed his eyes wide with confusion. He gripped the doorframe, his bruised knuckles healing from the alley fight. Emma, what's wrong? He asked, his voice low and raspy. I'm scared, I admitted, my voice small. I had a nightmare. A bad one. His expression softened, but he stayed rooted, unsure. I slipped past him, climbing onto his bed before he could protest. The room smelled of clean linen and a faint trace of his cedarwood soap, a scent that calmed my racing heart. "Emma," he muttered, his face flushing as he stood frozen in the dark. "This doesn't look good." I almost laughed at his awkwardness, but the fear still clung to me. "I need to feel safe," I said. "Please don't go." Nathan sighed, his shoulders slumping in defeat. He sat at the bed's edge, keeping a careful distance, his tall frame silhouetted against the moonlight. "What was the nightmare?" he asked, his voice gentle but probing. I couldn't tell him the truth, not about my rebirth or Lucas and Sophia's future betrayal. Just people hurting me, I mumbled. "I'm not as strong as I act, Nathan. I get scared easily." He nodded, his eyes searching mine as if sensing the weight I carried. "You don't have to be strong all the time," he said. "Not with me." His words hit deeper than I expected. In my past life, Lucas's love was loud, full of grand gestures that masked his ambition. Nathan's was quiet, steady, like a lighthouse in a storm. He stayed there watching over me, his presence a shield against my fears. I curled up under his blanket, the cedarwood scent wrapping around me. "Don't leave when I fall asleep, okay?" I whispered. He gave a gruff nod, his cheeks reddening. "All right." As I drifted off, the cosmic pulse in my chest settled, a sign I was healing. Nathan wasn't just the boy I'd saved, he was teaching me what love meant. Not passion or promises, but showing up, staying protecting. I woke to sunlight streaming through the window, Nathan still there, slumped in a chair, his head tilted back, snoring softly. I smiled, my heart lighter than it had been in years. Dad was at the breakfast table downstairs, his coffee mug dwarfed by his broad hands. Richard Thompson, tech mogul and single dad, eyed us with amusement and suspicion. "Rough night, you two?" he asked, his blue eyes twinkling. Uncle Mike, flipping pancakes in the kitchen, chuckled. "Looks like Emma's roping you into her adventures, Nathan." Nathan ducked his head, his ears red, but I caught his faint smile. "Just helping out, Mr. Thompson," he said. Dad leaned back, studying me. "You're different, Emma. Stronger. Your mom would be proud." His voice caught, and I felt a pang. Mom's death had shaped him as much as me. The nightmare taught me to let go of revenge and to focus on building a life with people like Nathan, Dad, and Uncle Mike. But school awaited, where Sophia's fake tears and Lucas's regretful glances would test me. I glanced at Nathan, his quiet strength bolstering mine. I'd face whatever came next, not for vengeance, but for me. The Lincoln High cafeteria buzzed with chatter trays clattering as students lined up for greasy pizza and wilted salads. I sat with Nathan, his presence a quiet anchor as I scanned the room for Sophia Reed. The cosmic pulse in my chest thrummed, a reminder of my second chance to rewrite my fate. I'd shaken her grip on me after exposing Sophia's scheming in the science lab and turning her manipulative act against her. But I wasn't done. In my past life, I'd unknowingly funded Sophia and Lucas's futures, setting up a $120,000 scholarship through Thompson Tech to cover their college costs to protect their pride. They'd repaid me with betrayal. This time, I'd undo that mistake. At home that evening, I found Dad in his study, surrounded by monitors displaying code for Thompson Tech's latest AI project. His graying hair was mussed, his tie loosened, a rare glimpse of the man behind the mogul. "Dad," I said, sitting across from him, "remember that scholarship I asked you to set up? The one for 2 students?" He looked up, his blue eyes sharp. "Yeah, the National Tech Talent Award. It's finalized. We are just waiting to transfer the funds." Why, I took a deep breath, the cosmic pulse urging me on. Cancel it. Redirect the money to medical charities instead. His eyebrows shot up. "That's $120,000, Emma. You were adamant about helping those kids." I nodded, thinking of Mom, who'd died of cancer when I was 6. Mom would have wanted it this way. Those students, Sophia and Lucas, their work doesn't deserve it. Some people need it more, like for hospital bills or treatments. Dad's face softened, a flicker of grief crossing his eyes. He'd never fully healed from Mom's loss, and neither had I. "You're right," he said quietly. "I'll make the call tomorrow." Uncle Mike poked his head in, carrying a tray of his famous chocolate chip cookies. "What's this about saving lives?" he asked, his mustache twitching with a grin. I smiled. "Just fixing some old mistakes, Mike." He set the tray down, winking at Nathan, who'd joined us. "You're rubbing off on her kid. She's getting all noble." Nathan's cheeks flushed, but he gave a slight nod, his dark eyes meeting mine. I felt a spark, his quiet support was becoming my strength. The next day at school, Sophia cornered me in the hallway, her auburn hair pulled back, her green eyes wide with panic. "Emma, I didn't win the scholarship," she said, her voice trembling. "They added another evaluation and I got cut." I feigned surprise, though I'd known the committee directed by Dad had scrapped her application. "That's rough, Sophia," I said, my tone sympathetic. "What happened?" She bit her lip, her delicate act cracking. "My dad's debts. He's a gambler, Emma. Mom can barely keep up. I told them I'd won, and now the loan sharks are coming. My family's done if I can't pay." Her desperation was absolute, but I saw the truth. In my past life, she'd known the scholarship was my doing, playing innocent while milking my family's wealth. Now she was scrambling. "I'd love to help," I said, my voice soft but calculated, "but I spent too much last month." Dad froze my cards. "Oh, speaking of money, can you repay the $3,000 I gave you for that dress?" Her face paled, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. I gave it to my parents," she stammered. "I don't have it." "No worries," I said with a smile. "Just pay me back when you can. We're best friends, right?" She flinched, knowing she'd lost her leverage. After that, Sophia stopped asking me for money, terrified I'd press for repayment. Instead, she turned to Lucas, her desperation driving her to him. I saw them sneaking off after class, her clinging to his arm, whispering urgently. Lucas, meanwhile, was quieter, his blonde hair falling into his eyes as he avoided me. My actions had forced him into manual jobs, hauling boxes at a supermarket. His hands calloused, his pride dented. One evening, I caught him outside the school unloading crates from a delivery truck. His worn-out tank top was soaked with sweat, his muscles straining under the weight. He froze when he saw me, his blue eyes flickering with shame. I didn't stop, just walked past with Nathan, who'd started tutoring me to boost my grades. "He's struggling," Nathan said quietly, glancing back. I shook my head. He made his choices. The cosmic pulse flared, affirming my resolve. I wasn't just undoing past mistakes, I was reclaiming my power. Dad called me into his study later, his face serious. "The scholarship's been redirected, Emma. Went to a children's hospital in Chicago. Good call." His pride warmed me, but his following words hit deeper. "You're growing up, kiddo. I was worried after your mom, but you're tougher than I thought." I hugged him, feeling the weight of his love. Nathan, lingering in the doorway, gave me a small smile. With Sophia and Lucas's plans unraveling and Dad and Nathan by my side, I was building a new future where my past mistakes stayed buried. The Wisconsin woods stretched dark and endless around our rented cabins, the air sharp with pine and the distant crackle of a campfire. Lincoln High's senior camping trip was supposed to be a carefree escape, but the cosmic pulse in my chest, the guiding force of my rebirth, thrummed unease. Nathan Hayes stuck close, his tall frame a quiet shield as he carried my duffel bag. His dark eyes scanned the trees, alert since I'd mentioned seeing Sophia Reed's face in the crowd earlier that day. She wasn't a student here anymore, having failed her college entrance exams, but her presence lingered like a ghost. Our classmates laughed around the campfire, roasting marshmallows, their voices echoing through the forest. I tried to join in, but my mind was elsewhere. In my past life, a fire had broken out on this trip, and I'd lost my memory believing Lucas Bennett had saved me. The truth was buried. Nathan had died pulling me from the flames, while Lucas took the credit, winning my dad's trust and our company. The cosmic pulse flared, urging me to stay vigilant. As night fell, I settled into a wooden cabin, its walls creaking under the wind. Nathan had chosen one nearby, insisting on keeping watch. I was brushing my hair when a strange smell hit me, acrid like gasoline. Before I could react, smoke curled under the door and flames licked the walls. My heart seized. "Nathan," I screamed, but the roar of the fire swallowed my voice. My body felt heavy, my limbs sluggish as if drugged. The cosmic pulse pounded, and memories flooded back, flashes of my past life, the same fire, the same cabin. I saw Nathan, his face desperate, rushing in to save me, only to collapse in the flames. The door burst open, and Nathan charged through the smoke, his dark hair plastered with sweat. "Emma, hold on," he shouted, his voice raw. He scooped me up, his arms strong despite his lanky frame. A burning beam crashed down, striking his leg with a sickening crack. He winced, sweat beading on his forehead, but didn't falter. "I've got you," he said, carrying me through the choking haze. Outside, the woods were ablaze, the fire spreading faster than it should have. Classmates screamed, running for safety, their silhouettes blurred in the smoke. Nathan stumbled his leg, buckling, but he pushed forward, passing me to a group of students before collapsing. "Get her out," he gasped. I reached for him, my throat burning, but hands pulled me away. Through the chaos, I saw Lucas sprinting toward the fire, his blonde hair wild, his blue eyes wide with panic. "Emma," he shouted, his voice breaking. He tried to push through, but classmates held him back, yelling, "It's too dangerous." His face crumpled, guilt etched in every line. He was reborn like me and knew the truth of that past fire, Nathan's sacrifice, his own lie. As paramedics arrived, I coughed my lungs raw and pieced it together. In my past life, the fire had been no accident. Sophia had drugged me, set the blaze to make Lucas look like a hero, but Nathan got there first. Lucas carried me out, claiming the glory, while Nathan died, his heroism buried. I'd lost my memory from the trauma, and Dad, heartbroken, told everyone to hide the truth to protect me. Lucas built his life on that deception, marrying me, taking Thompson Tech, then betraying me with Sophia. Now history was repeating, but Nathan had saved me again. I grabbed a paramedic's arm, my voice hoarse. "Nathan, he's hurt. Help him." They rushed to him, stabilizing his broken leg. Lucas stood nearby, his chest heaving, his eyes locked on me in Nathan's arms. The cosmic pulse steadied a sign that things were different this time. Nathan was alive, and I knew the truth. But Sophia's fleeting presence nagged at me. She'd been here, and this fire felt too deliberate. As the flames roared, I vowed to uncover who'd tried to burn my world down again. The Chicago hospital room smelled of antiseptic, and the beeping monitored a steady rhythm under the fluorescent lights. I sat by Nathan Hayes' bed, his leg in a cast, his dark hair falling over his closed eyes as he slept. The cosmic pulse in my chest thrummed softly, a reminder of my second chance to rewrite my fate. The Wisconsin fire had nearly taken him from me again, but he'd saved me just as he had in my past life. Now I needed answers why the fire started and why Sophia Reed's face had flashed in the crowd. Dad stormed into the room, his broad frame filling the doorway. Richard Thompson, tech mogul and protective father, was furious, his blue eyes blazing. "Emma, no one hurts my daughter and walks away," he said, his voice low but steely. He'd already called the Chicago PD, leveraging his connections to demand a full investigation. Uncle Mike followed, carrying a thermos of his homemade chicken soup. "For the hero," he said, nodding at Nathan with a grin. "Kid's tougher than he looks." His mustache twitched, but his warm brown eyes held concern. Mike had been Dad's driver and confidant for decades, a second father to me, and his faith in Nathan warmed my heart. The police report came fast thanks to Dad's influence. Detectives found gasoline traces around my cabin, a clear sign of arson. A burner phone discarded in the woods held texts linking it to a local thug known for petty crimes. The messages mentioned a red-haired girl paying for a quick job to scare someone. Sophia's auburn hair and unexplained presence at the campsite made her the prime suspect. In my past life, she'd orchestrated a similar fire to make Lucas look heroic, but this time she'd acted alone, driven by spite after I'd cut her off from my family's money. Dad paced his phone, buzzing with updates from Thompson Tech's legal team. "We've got her, Emma," he said. "The thug's talking, he's naming Sophia for a lighter sentence." I nodded, my mind racing. Sophia's desperation had roots: her father's gambling debts, her mother's endless shifts, her own failure to get into college. She'd clung to me for years, not out of friendship, but to siphon my family's wealth. When I canceled her $120,000 scholarship, her world crumbled. This fire was her revenge. Lucas, meanwhile, had turned himself in, claiming he'd set the blaze. The police were skeptical. His story didn't match the evidence, especially the burner phone tied to Sophia. I met him at the detention center against Dad's wishes, needing to understand. He sat across from me, his blonde hair dull under the lights, his blue eyes red-rimmed. "Emma, I didn't do it," he said, his voice hoarse. "But I know Sophia did. In our past life, she planned the first fire to make me your dad's golden boy. I went along and took the credit when Nathan saved you. Like you, I'm reborn, and I see it now. I was a coward." His words hit hard, but I felt no pity. In my past life, Lucas had married me, drained Thompson Tech, and left me for Sophia's pregnancy. His reborn regret was honest, but it changed nothing. "You chose her, Lucas," I said, my voice cold. "You let her drug me, let Nathan die, and built your life on lies. Why take the blame now?" He lowered his head, his hands shaking. "Because I loved you, Emma. I was too proud to admit it. I hated being the guy who needed your money. Sophia fed that pride, but I lost you. This is my atonement. The cosmic pulse steadied, affirming my choice to move on. You don't get to atone, I said, standing. You made your bed. Lie in it. I walked out, leaving him slumped, his face pale. At the hospital, Nathan was awake, sketching code for his esports app on a notepad. He'd started it with my investment, his coding skills honed at community college, a dream to build something of his own. You okay? He asked, his dark eyes soft. I nodded, touching his hand. Thanks to you. Dad and Uncle Mike joined us, their presence a warm anchor. Dad said the police have enough to charge Sophia. She's facing arson and attempted murder. Mike set down the soup, clapping Nathan's shoulder. You're family now, kid. Saved our girl twice. Nathan flushed, but his smile was genuine. I thought of the bank card, the number 130924 from my past life, Nathan's silent sacrifice. The fire had revealed the truth, and the investigation had closed the loop. Sophia's malice was exposed, Lucas's lies undone. With Nathan, Dad, and Mike by my side, I was ready to build a future free of their shadows. The Chicago Detention Center smelled of stale coffee and disinfectant, its gray walls closing in as I sat across from Lucas Bennett. His blonde hair was disheveled, his blue eyes hollow under the harsh fluorescent lights. The cosmic pulse in my chest, the guiding force of my rebirth, thrummed steadily, urging me to close this chapter of my past life. Lucas had turned himself in for the Wisconsin campfire arson, taking the blame to protect Sophia Reed, whose texts had linked her to the crime. Against Dad's advice, I'd come to hear him out, to face the man who'd betrayed me with Sophia's pregnancy and a drained Thompson tech in my past life. Lucas leaned forward, his hands cuffed, his voice low. Emma, I didn't start the fire, he said, his eyes searching mine. But I know you're piecing it together. The fire in our past life, Sophia planned it. She drugged you, set the blaze, and wanted me to play the hero so your dad would trust me. I didn't know Nathan got there first. I carried you out, took the credit, and built everything on that lie. His voice cracked, his hands trembling. I'm reborn too, Emma. I see it all now, how I failed you. I sat back, my heart cold. In my past life, Lucas's charm had blinded me. 8 years of love and 3 years of marriage shattered when he and Sophia drained my family's company, leaving me with $10,000 and a broken heart. His reborn guilt didn't erase that. You chose her, Lucas, I said, my voice steady. You let her manipulate you then and now. Why confess now? He lowered his head, his eyes red at the corners. Because I loved you, Emma. I was too proud to admit it. I hated being the Phoenix man, the guy who rose with your dad's money. Sophia made me feel like I was enough, but it was a lie. I saw you with Nathan, how he protected you in that fire, and I knew I'd lost you for good. His voice broke, a bitter laugh escaping. I took the blame to atone. It's my karma. The cosmic pulse flared, affirming my resolve. Lucas's confession was raw, his regret honest, but it came too late. I thought of Nathan Hayes, who'd risked his life to save me his broken leg, a testament to his quiet strength. I thought of the mysterious bank card with 130924 he'd left me in my past life, a symbol of his unspoken care. You made your choice, Lucas, I said, standing. You don't get to rewrite it now. Goodbye. His face twitched, lips pale, but he said nothing as I walked away. The weight of his betrayal lifted, replaced by a clarity I'd never felt in my past life. I was free. Back at the Lake Forest mansion, Dad was waiting in the living room, his broad frame sunk into the leather couch. Richard Thompson, tech mogul and single dad, looked up from his laptop, his blue eyes softening. You okay, kiddo? He asked. I nodded, sitting beside him, and was closing a door. He squeezed my shoulder, his pride evident. You're tougher than I ever was, Emma. Your mom would have loved seeing you like this. The mention of Mom, who'd died of cancer when I was 6, brought a lump to my throat. Dad had raised me alone, pouring his love into me and Thompson Tech. His faith in me now meant everything. Uncle Mike poked his head in, carrying a tray of his famous chocolate chip cookies. Thought you two could use a pick-me-up, he said, his mustache twitching with a grin. Nathan's out back tinkering with some code. Kid's got a brain on him. I smiled, thinking of Nathan's sketches for an esports app, his quiet ambition taking shape. Mike set the tray down, his warm brown eyes lingering on me. You did well today, Miss Emma. Not many could face what you did and walk away stronger. Later, I found Nathan on the back porch, his laptop glowing under the stars. Was his cast propped on a stool, his fingers flying over the keyboard? And was he working on your app? I asked, sitting beside him. He nodded, a rare smile breaking through. Yeah, some ideas for a gaming platform. Esports is big now. His passion, so different from Lucas's empty promises, warmed me. I touched his arm. You saved my life, Nathan. I'm not going anywhere. His eyes met mine, soft but intense. Good, he said, his voice low. The cosmic pulse settled a sign I'd made the right choice. Lucas's confession had closed the past, but Nathan was my future. The Lake Forest Mansion's dining room glowed under the chandelier, and the oak table was set for a family dinner, me, Dad, and Nathan Hayes. The cosmic pulse in my chest thrummed softly, a quiet affirmation of my reborn journey. 2 years had passed since the Wisconsin fire, since Nathan saved me, and Lucas took the blame for Sophia's arson. Now, as college sophomores, Nathan and I had built something new, a bond forged in trust and quiet moments. Dad insisted on a celebration tonight, marking how far we'd come. In a rare break from Thompson Tech, Richard Thompson raised his wine glass, his blue eyes twinkling. To family, he said, glancing at me and Nathan. And to Emma, who's grown into one hell of a woman. I laughed, my cheeks flushing. Dad, stop. Uncle Mike, serving his famous lasagna, chuckled. He's right, Miss Emma. You and Nathan are like something out of a movie. Nathan ducked his head, his dark hair falling into his eyes, but a smile tugged at his lips. His leg had healed, and his esports app, built from late-night coding sessions at community college, had taken off, riding the esports boom. My investment pocket money I'd once squandered on Lucas had given him the start he needed. After dinner, Dad shooed us outside. Take a walk, he said, winking the cherry trees blooming. The garden stretched wide, its manicured lawns glowing under the moonlight. Nathan and I stood beneath the cherry tree, its pink petals drifting like snow. The cosmic pulse flared, urging me to ask the question I'd held for years. Nathan, I said, my voice soft, what does 14924 mean? He froze, his dark eyes widening, a flush creeping up his neck. He leaned closer, his breath warm. Come here, let me tell you. I stood on tiptoe, my heart racing. Emma, he whispered. 13 is the stroke in Thompson, 9 is the stroke in Emma, and 24, it means I love you. My breath caught. The bank card, the number he'd carried through 2 lifetimes, was his silent confession, a love he'd never voiced, but always shone through, saving me, staying by me, building a future for us. You've always been my moon, he said, his voice low. I just wanted to protect you. Tears stung my eyes. In my past life, I'd chased Lucas's loud, fleeting love blind to Nathan's quiet devotion. I saw it clearly. Love was showing up, sacrificing, being there through the worst. I took his hand, my fingers lacing through his. I love you too, I said. He smiled, a rare, unguarded grin that lit up his sharp features. Under the cherry tree, we kissed, the cosmic pulse settling into a warm glow. This was my redemption, a life built on truth. Years later, Nathan and I married in a sea of flowers, our daughter Lily giggling between us. His esports company thrived, a testament to his coding genius and relentless work. Dad, now semi-retired, doted on Lily while Uncle Mike taught her to bake his cookies. After dodging prison, Sophia had fallen into a jaded life, chasing older men for money. Lucas, released from jail, had seen us once, his eyes hollow as he walked away. I'd erased them both, choosing a future with Nathan, Dad, and Mike, a family that loved me without conditions.